Good morning. Hope you guys are staying safe out there as always. It is a pretty great day for most of the traders out there, I'm sure, because Bitcoin has just recently hit major all-time highs at just over 123K. I'm going to go over in the video today a new indicator I'm working on to help kind of give some support and resistance levels for trading, for all, just a lot of different ideas in the works here. We're going to go over some bumper band strategies, see which ones have been doing well, which ones have been struggling a little bit, and just kind of go over the market a little bit. So hope you guys are ready to go. All right, so I'm going to jump in. This is what I'm calling right now the Revan ribbons. These are ribbons I am building based off of the general idea of the bumper bands. So what happens is you can see there's kind of a channel or the main band layer levels created right here. So this midline is kind of where the channel starts, and then you have your main channel and you have your ribbon channel or confluence layers above and below them. And so in bullish times, you'll see oftentimes the second confluence layer get hit. In really, really bullish times, it might try and go up and hit the third confluence layer, but that's going to be very, very rare. The third confluence layer is actually for creating support and resistance levels. So we can kind of just go back. The first one here that's created on this chart, and you can control how many layers you see or how many support and resistance levels you see in the indicator itself. And the indicator is still very new, so lots to work on before I release it. But basically what happens is when price close touches the second ribbon layer, confluence layer, it on the third layer creates a support or resistance. So this was on the support band, so it created a support down here. And you can see from creation, it took just about 13 bars and it almost reached that level, and then it took about 42 bars before it really based off of that and went higher. So it created a nice support zone here. Kind of when that happens, it's like, okay, look, expect lower. Now price did pump up pretty high, but then that was pretty, kind of a trap there, and then came lower, sideways, and a little bit lower even, then based off of it and went up. So this is kind of a really great tool for creating on the daily time frame, 12-hour. You can use it on different time frames, creating support and resistance zones and layers. You can see here, finally went up and touched the first ribbon here after the main ribbon. It touched the first ribbon, and again you created a resistance zone. Now this one, it definitely touched it and then it broke above it a little bit, but it broke back below it and consolidated a while before it went higher. And so this does not always mean it's going to bounce exactly there, but again, it just gives you a zone to kind of watch for and expect price to head towards that zone in the near future. So this one took about 16 bars, I believe, from when it was created to when it actually touched, and then another couple bars before it broke back below it and did some consolidation. Second time, you can see that price closed above that ribbon right there. It created another another resistance zone. This one from day of creation took about 14 bars for it to hit that target, and then it did have a pretty major pullback from there. And so I do find that the more targets in a row it hits, the heavier the pullback will be. And you can see up here, it hit this third one from over here, and it had a major, massive pullback right there. So it's actually going to be very interesting to see if price can close above, what is this, 119K, about 119.5K. It's really struggling to stay above there. So that was a pretty good area of resistance. And again, price did create another, it's funny, it's actually perfectly timed this. That's actually wild. Right back here, it created this resistance level again, right here from the touch right there. And that created the perfect place for a pullback. So that's actually better than I could have expected. Again, I just created this indicator the other day. I've been working on it, so it's cool to see it already starting to work out and really put some major areas of interest to the up and down side. And we'll probably do another video on this in the future, and I'll do some back testing where I'll go far back and do some bar replay so you can see it actually in action and how it just is in real life and in action. So anyway, something to watch for. This will be available for the complete users if you are on the complete tier, and it can really help in knowing if you are in an area to go long or go short, and kind of how to think about that. So we're going to kind of jump into the strategies from there. If you guys are not a part of the band's Discord, I will put a link in the description below for the Patreon channel. If you join that channel, it will give you access to our Discord and all the strategies and indicators. The strategies are just kind of a bonus. They are there for you to take and tweak and use how you see fit, but they are not necessarily meant to be traded just as is. Every user must go through them, and I would suggest you really make some adjustments or make it your own. Okay, let's start with looking at the hourly. Is this the hourly one right here? That's the 30-minute here. The hourly is somewhere right here. It's a short strategy. Okay, here's the hourly. So this is the Bitcoin hourly with the AI max. So this indicator, this strategy has taken some massive wins in the last couple days. You can see it actually perfectly traded this market. Let me go to the recent trades. You can see I'm running it on an account size of, this is just where it starts at for users that might have an account size of 10K or more. This is just the initial capital. You can put whatever your actual capital is in there. But this strategy in particular is just running off of 10K, kind of test size or whatever you want to call it. And the last few trades have been, you had a couple small losses here. A few days ago had some bigger losses, but they pretty quickly made up those losses, and then had a 2%, 7%, and almost 5% gain. It's currently in a trade right now that's down 1.5%. We'll see where it ends up at the end of the actual trade. I expect there to be some massive volatility to the down and upside. So yeah, we'll see where it ends up, but it pretty much perfectly, it was a very long trade. It entered on July 2nd, and all of this sideways, it waited until finally it exited on July 11th, and then entered again just a little bit under where it exited on July 11th again, and took and actually perfectly timed that move to the top right here, and exited just last night. I guess today's the 14th. So I guess the early hours of this morning. Depends on what time zone you're in. But yeah, so that was some great trades right there. Again, it's in a trade that's going to the downside a bit right now, but can't win them all. And I do expect this actually to bounce here pretty soon. So we'll see what happens. But let's keep going from here and look at a few other strategies. There's a bunch of 30-minute time frame strategies, so I thought it would be good to compare those. Before we do that, let's look at the 12-hour strategy here. This one recently has been kind of going sideways for a while. Had a I guess it was barely a win right there. Maybe you call that just a break even right there. And then a small win right here this was in June. And then finally, July 3rd, it took a trade. Now this trade did pull back quite a ways. I think it pulled back probably, how far is that? I guess it's only a couple percent. Interesting. But from there, it massively went to the upside and had a nice big win right here, about 5.8%, and then entered another trade here, timed the top pretty perfectly right there, another 3.5%, and it's already almost pulled down completely from here. So it's retesting the support bumper. It'll be interesting to see if we get another entry actually somewhere around here in the next, how many hours? In about 7 hours it'll close. So I do expect this pullback to last a little bit longer, but I don't know if it will close below 119. Who knows? We'll see in about 7 hours. But that strategy may enter another trade right here. If it did, could be another nice little win if Bitcoin continues on. Okay, so now we've looked at those. Let's look at these 30-minute strategies. I'm actually going to leave these for now. Let's look at some 30-minute strategies. Some of these have done pretty good. Some of these have struggled. So the 30-minute strategy is not going to take advantage of the bigger moves quite as much. It's going to get in and out of trades faster. So it's good for different types of markets. And you can see this one actually, it had actually a lot of wins right here in a row. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 wins in a row over the last few days. And actually a couple of them were pretty good sized wins. You can see this one over here on the 10th. to the 11th was a pretty great win right there, and then a couple small wins. It did not take advantage of this massive pump up to 122K, and it actually entered a trade at about 121 and is having a pretty big pullback. So this one may give back a few gains right here. This is why I personally trade a few different time frame strategies. So I'll trade the hour, the 30-minute, the 4-hour are the three right now that I'm focused on trading. That gives me, a few different options, and it kind of hedges my bets, I guess, if you will, a bit. So where this one obviously took a bad trade, the 12-hour you can see, and the 4-hour actually have done some pretty good trades and have crushed it. So that is the 30-minute. There's a few other 30 minutes, and this is the max. Let's look at a few other 30-minute strategies. Let's see. We already looked at the. Oh, this is the 1 day. Okay, we will look at the 1 day real fast before we look at the other 30 minutes. The 1 day, just posted it a couple weeks ago and did take a nice win here from let's see, July 2nd and closed out on July 10th. It didn't take advantage of the full move, but it did get a nice big win there, and probably will enter in the trade here again pretty soon. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for those users that are using this strategy, it is a very, very nice strategy in my opinion that has a fairly small drawdown for how far back it goes, and pretty good profit factor right there. So the profit factor only gets better if you give it a little bit more leeway. I talked about this before, but if you take the stop loss off as a percentage, where is that? So right now it has a max stop loss of 5%. If you are okay with some major volatility and want to take out that stop loss off and just use the emergency and the ATR risk stop, the profit factor goes way up and the profitability goes way up. I think it's like, is it over 75? I'm pretty sure it's over 75%, or very close to that. So that means it wins about 75% of its trades, but there's more volatility in that. And you can see an example of that back over here. It did hit its stop loss right here at about 99K. If that would not have hit the stop loss, it would have actually been a winning trade right there. But there are times in the past that price, especially during bear markets, that price drops and keeps dropping. So it's not a bad idea to have a stop loss, percentage stop loss on there. Anyway, okay, we're going to keep going from here, look at a couple others. So this is, the max. We looked at the max. We're going to look at another version of the max. This one took a few more trades here recently. Let's see. It's interesting. It takes... it took an extra trade in here, an extra winning trade, which was kind of nice, but it also entered the same place and is majorly having a pullback right there. However, you can see the equity curve of the chart is, up and to the right again. There is chop in here. You can see this area right here. It's some major pullbacks. This area right here, it's some kind of, I'd say minor to medium pullbacks, and probably will end up getting a loss right here, I'm assuming, but that's the way it goes. There's a couple other ones to look at. This is another version. This one, is kind of a little more flat than the others. Had a longer consolidation period, pullback period, and right now it still has not broken its all-time highs yet. So I would say this one is on the weaker side, but this is with the AI Max as well. Again, all of these are on the Discord, and they're for users to kind of take a look at and see what they prefer to trade. It does have a nice, very small drawdown percent, which it might be, safer in that regard. And it did get, a lot of wins. It had a small loss back here, but it has had just a lot of wins in the last few weeks. And, after a lot of wins, at some point it's going to come some losses. So to be expected. Going to look at the last one we're going to look at is a short strategy, just because it's interesting to see how short strategies do when the market is just massively going to the upside. And this strategy actually has managed to hold sideways. You can see there's a ton of trades that were entered and exited almost immediately. So basically what that was saying was it was trying to enter a short, but since price was breaking out, it decided to close them right away. So you can see the equity curve just barely pulled to the downside because you had a few, these trades were, most of them losses, a few of them probably broke even. But it's, it's good to see that even during times of some major upside in the market, short strategies are generally doing okay, at least protecting themselves and not making massive losses. I'm sure at some point if the market continues to grind to the upside, we'll take some more losses. But it's also a nice little place to look for flags here. This these two flags kind of did mark the top, which is nice to see it actually, working out. So this strategy I use as much for a hedge as also just to kind of watch and see where major points of resistance might be. You could hand trade this strategy if you would like and be a little bit more risky with it, and take every flag that it puts in. But during periods of pullback, that would definitely be more profitable, but it also would be more risky. So just there on the Discord as well for people that, for users that want to trade some short strategies along with longs. And on that note, I think I'm going to leave it off for today. I do have one or two other indicators that I've been working with. One of them I probably will release as well, and it's working a bit more with trend. And the third one, we'll see if it actually turns out into being something useful. But yeah, I'm excited for the upcoming season ahead. The next month will probably be fairly bullish, but again, watch out for this area right here at 119.5K, and then again at 123.2. Those are going to be some areas of resistance, so it might take a while to break through those. I guess we will see. All right, y'all, have a great one, and I will see you guys in the next video.